So, in the last episode of this series, we covered the basic two builds that can be swapped between to give you something that is quite solid for every mission. However, there are some specialized builds that can make Limbo even more effective than normal when it comes to certain things, such as Eidolon hunting, low-level trash clearing, the index, and there's even a simple build that makes hunting those stupid little tokens for the syndicates a bit easier. So if you're interested in any of that sort of thing and don't mind swapping builds occasionally, here are 4 specialized setups that I use to make certain mission types more pleasant to deal with. To start with, let's talk about this index build made of Primed Continuity, Cataclysmic Continuum, Constitution, Augur Reach, Primed Flow, Stretch, Overextended, Narrow-Minded, Cunning Drift, and Corrosive Projection. Yeah, it leaves Limbo extremely squishy, but you don't take Limbo to the index to fight moving enemies, you take him there to turn the matches into a joke. Everything there can be stopped by stasis, nothing can break Cataclysm, and only a small number of attacks, which are all highly telegraphed, can hit things through the void. So just plop a Cataclysm down that covers the enemy's point return, kill anything that enters it, and occasionally sneak out to get energy. As long as you're patient and you let your team handle the actual point carrying, you can keep this up for as long as you need and never lose a single second off that timer, even if that stupid rhino who never banks manages to get himself killed. And since your Cataclysm net crowd controls enemies and sets them up so nicely for headshots, your team tends to get quite a number of kills from it without exposing themselves to any danger. Add in the wonderful synergy with Mesa and you've got a very solid way to handle the index. This is the most commonly used of my niche builds, but the other setups can provide some interesting things too. For instance, take this lovely Catabombing build. It uses Energy Siphon, Power Drift, Transient Fortitude, Natural Talent, Stretch, Augur Reach, Primed Flow, Fleeting Expertise, Overextended, and Augur Secrets, and it's what I use for quickly clearing syndicate missions and extremely low-level defensive missions. The way you use this setup is that you blast areas with Cataclysm, let it expand as much as possible, and then immediately deactivate the ability. This will kill or seriously damage low-level enemies and break all the containers within the Cataclysm's range, even if they are in completely different rooms. Then once everything's broken, you can just run through the area with a vacuum sentinel, suck up all the loot, and if there's anything still showing on the map, it is either a syndicate medallion or an Iatan statue. You can also use this Catabombing setup with low-level defensive maps. Just drop the bomb on various parts of the map, release it, and watch XP numbers pop up all over your screen. That said, it really is only for low-level missions or crate breaking. It starts falling off really hard once you start dealing with anything level 30 and up, so be prepared to let the usual Sarens and Equinoxes handle AoE nuking after that point. Next up, we have this Defection Build. Yes, I really have a Defection build. I hate escorting the pack of morons that much, and I still have to go in there from time to time and try and grab that imaginary hero part. Anyways, it uses my standard durability combo as well as narrow-minded and natural talent, but gives the other 2 slots to Intensify and Haven, and it allows you to do an incredibly simple strategy for this mission type. Just pick a group, banish them, and run them to the exit without stopping for life support. If their health ever starts to decrease thanks to the mission's constant HP drain, just unbanish them and rebanish them again, as Haven gives them 25% of their HP back at base when they enter the void and is improved by Intensify. So casting Banish 6 to 8 times is a full heal, which means there's basically no chance of these guys dying as long as you're keeping an eye on them and keeping them banished. Now, finally, let's talk about this lovely setup that I use for Eidolon hunting. It once again uses my standard durability combo as well as narrow-minded and prime continuity, but adds on stretch instead of natural talent. As for the last slot, I go back and forth on Haven for a small heal and Overextended for a more visible and easier to reach safety net on your team, but either of them are good mods. Anyways, while Limbo's not the best Eidolon hunter and probably not the best one to take into a pug, Lures can do their job even while banished, so as long as you keep them banished, they're functionally immortal. And if you have Haven on, you can add a small heal to that banish, which can help any teammates you accidentally hit, and cover any damage that happens to a drone you aren't watching well enough. You can also toss down a Cataclysm when the boss is about to do his magnetic thing, and tell your team to jump in it to avoid damage and keep their energy up. That said, you can do everything that Limbo is particularly good for here with either of the 2 setups from the first episode of this series, so this is probably the most skippable of the builds I'm showing in this episode. Anyways, those are basically all the setups that I regularly use. If you had trouble seeing the mods used for each build, check the info box below, as I've written each of the basic modding setups I use down there. And if you want more information on mods, stats, or things like why I don't use Rift Torrent, please check out the other parts of this series, as it should hopefully be enough to answer any questions that you still have. And if it isn't enough, please just leave a comment below and I will try to get back to you. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Farewell.